John Mitchell, and this is the fifth of 7 short videos introducing a new vision of leadership and culture for business, government and the professions, a vision embodied in the Mitchell model. In the first 4 videos, we've studied the individual, psychological and organizational contexts of leadership, applying in each context a consistent scale of 6 levels of quality. In this 5th video, we'll focus on the remaining contexts 8 and 9, that is, the context of citizenship and of government, again applying the 4-way relationship structure and 6 levels of quality. In addition, we'll explore realities facing today's sovereign states and the relationships and connections between dependence, independence and interdependence. In videos 1 to 4, we've established 9 contexts of leadership, from the individual to the governmental, going into detailed overviews of structure and quality in each of contexts 1 through 7. Now in video 5, we'll go into depth in contexts 8 and 9, the contexts of citizenship and of government. In both of these contexts, we'll again explore how the 6 levels of quality apply, first remembering that we've defined qualitative growth and decay as increases and decreases, respectively, in awareness and constructive action, and that from this we derived 6 demonstrable and comprehensive generic levels of quality, 3 positive levels and 3 negative. First, let's clarify the structure of the context of citizenship. Here, the higher authority is the community in which the individual citizen finds him or herself or consciously chooses to be part of. In the downward relationship are junior citizens, including children, while in the peer group relationship are partners, friends and family. Externally, the relationship is with the wider community, possibly via social and other media. So, how do the 6 levels of quality apply here? In the context of citizenship, level +1 denotes routine social habits that contribute passively to the ongoing life of the community and help enable it to continue functioning. If these habits start to become destructive, which in essence means there's more taking from the community than giving to it, the citizen enters, as it were, level -1. Alternatively, if the level of engagement increases with an active, positive impact on community life, the citizen enters level +2. The destructive social habits that begin in level -1 can descend to level -2, where involvement in the social or community environment becomes increasingly self-centered. Where a citizen is engaged at level +2, there's the possibility of evolving further to a +3 level of creative service to the community, perhaps of a caliber that will leave a tangible benefit for posterity, whether or not this is acknowledged. From level -2, there's the further possible descent to level -3, where there's a destructive influence on the community, such as through severe antisocial behavior or criminality. In modern communities, there's a range of methods for dealing with level -3 citizenship, whether through reactions of the same -3 level, such as the imposed isolation of physical imprisonment, or by imposing community work in an effort to establish level +2 awareness, attitudes and conduct. This scheme gives a broad outline of the potential for qualitative growth and decay of individual citizenship, and therefore, if linked to the context of mindset and psychology, have a potential focus for both education and re-education. As we've done in earlier videos, let's clarify how the sense of responsibility in this context is felt and acted upon at level +3. Once again, the fundamental sense of responsibility at level +3 is to be of service, and this manifests itself firstly in making a full contribution to the community, which is likely to be both financial and cultural. The responsibility downwards that's actively realized is to create and sustain the physical, mental and emotional environment in which junior citizens, including children, can contribute and fulfill their potential. This therefore stands as the level +3 sense of responsibility of parenthood and education. At peer level, the level +3 responsibility is actively to build trust and collaboration with fellow citizens, partners, family and friends, while externally the responsibility is felt as to build one's own or the community's reputation within the wider community. Let's now turn to context 9, the context of government, and articulate the 4 core relationships in this context. The higher authority is the state or nation that the government serves. In the downwards relationship are government departments and local government, with the peer group consisting of governments of other states or nations, with or against which they may be allied. The external relationship is with international bodies and the international community. Once again, the fundamental sense of responsibility at level +3 is to be of service, and this manifests itself in government in the responsibility to make a full contribution, financial and cultural, to the state or nation. The responsibility downwards that is actively realized is to create and sustain the environment in which government departments and local government can contribute fully and fulfill their potential. At peer level, the level +3 responsibility is to build trust and collaboration with other governments, while externally the responsibility is felt as to enhance reputation with the international community. Let's remember that these responsibilities are those felt and acted upon at level +3 of leadership and cultural development. If we now look briefly at some of the characteristics of the lower levels, we'll see first that at level +1, the government will be focused primarily on maintaining things as they are. Over time, and especially if there are changes in the external environment that the government resists or fails to respond to, there will likely be a falling into the defensiveness of level -1, which may include, for example, micromanaging government departments or local government, and may also extend to assuming control or influence over areas of national life that previously did not come under government influence. Under further internal or external pressure, government may fall into the destructive political behavior characteristic of level -2, and a further descent can see the threat or actuality of the destruction of public services as a consequence of the dominance of negative personalities and ego. An alternative to the decay towards -3 is revealed in the potential for growth implicit in the movement from the level +1 focus on maintaining the status quo to the +2 level of development of a government that engages and succeeds in implementing changes intended to benefit the state or nation, or at least those members of the state or nation that the governing party effectively represents. At the lower end of level +2, therefore, such changes may be partisan and may therefore lead to a descent or oscillation to level -2. At level +3, the government or the behind-the-scenes lawmaking functions operate relatively objectively in crafting new laws, sometimes through cross-party working groups. Once again, the 6 levels of quality give an overview of key stages and characteristics of the potential growth and decay of government quality. So let's now create a connected view of the 6 levels as they apply to citizenship and government, once again bringing back into the picture the 6 fundamentals of mindset as explored in video 1. At level +1, the constructive passivity of the leadership mindset is reflected in constructive passive social habits of citizenship and a government focus on maintaining the status quo. If no higher level of development is aimed at or reached, then just as mindset may generically descend to the destructive passivity of level -1, so citizenship falls to destructive social habits and government passes to micromanaging and to failing to attend to matters that only it can address. Again, over time, these aspects of level -1 can further descend to a mindset of destructive dynamism, manifesting in citizenship as self-centeredness and in government as destructive political behavior. Eventually, this can all lead to the destructive exclusion of level -3 mindsets, where citizens come to exert a destructive influence on the community, and the quality of government is such that public service is seriously jeopardized or even destroyed. Moving in the opposite direction from level +1, if a level +2 mindset of constructive dynamism is achieved, then this can be reflected in constructive social engagement and effective changes and improvements by government. Developing further to a level +3 mindset of constructive inclusion, the citizen provides a creative service to the community and the government provides objectivity in lawmaking. As we saw when studying both the psychological and the organizational contexts, much of social and public life, perhaps even the vast majority of it, can be thought of in terms of movements and oscillations between levels +2 and -2, with the ever-present threat of level -3. The development potential for citizenship and government alike is therefore to raise the center of gravity from level -1 and level -2 to levels +1, +2, and eventually +3. Exposure to this framework of potential growth and decay inevitably begs the question, what then is the process of growth and what, if anything, is preventing it? We'll address this in the next video, video 6. So we've explored how the four-way relationship structure and 6 levels of quality can be applied in citizenship and government, contexts 8 and 9 respectively of the Mitchell model of leadership and culture. Let's now take this study further and see how the principle of include and transcend applies, beginning with a focus on the relationship between dependence, independence, and interdependence. While we have focused on how the 6 levels of relative quality and the include and transcend relationship that potentially connects them apply within the 9 contexts of leadership, they can also be used to throw light on many other aspects of personal and collective life. As we come to the close of this 5th video, it may be particularly interesting to focus on relative levels of dependence, independence, and interdependence, since these relate directly both to aspects of citizenship, such as family life, and aspects of government and international affairs, such as the relationships between nation-states and efforts to build and sustain multinational organizations. To get a quick feel for relative dependence, we can take the fairly ubiquitous situation of a dependent child becoming an aspiring or actual independent youth or young adult, and eventually a mature adult who willingly gives up independence in favor of interdependence. As we can see, all of these stages have the potential to be constructive or destructive. Now let's juxtapose the 6 levels as we have elaborated them in the context of citizenship and government with that of levels of dependence, placing these under the heading of nation-state. You're invited to reflect on the implications of this for the nation-state and for the challenges of creating and sustaining such organizations as the United Nations and the European Union. What does it imply in terms of responsibilities and practices that need to be felt and enacted? What happens when these responsibilities are not acted upon, even if they are enshrined in constitutional documents? While the contexts we're exploring range from the psychological to the governmental, we can start to see that the same principles of growth and decay apply also for the international community and its future. So, how can interested organizational leaders and decision makers find out more about the Mitchell model and its potential value to them personally and for their organizations? There are 3 ways. First, take time to study and assimilate all 7 of these introductory videos, which will help you already to get some bearings about where your leadership and organizational quality currently stands. Secondly, you can apply to join one of our series of international leadership weeks that are held in Switzerland, China, and Bermuda each year. These give interested CEOs, professional managing partners, and government officials a unique opportunity to explore the Mitchell model in a practical way, while networking with counterparts from other organizations with similar interests. And thirdly, if you'd like to have direct contact through an initial phone call or meeting, please email me at the address shown, and I'll be happy to respond.